Hello and welcome back to Whimsy. This is our last alternate card using elements from the Paper Pumpkin Kit for August 2025. And this one was called Farmhouse Florals. So today we are going to make a like a pop front card. It's going to stand like this, but you could also use it as a gull wing card if you wanted to. I am just focusing it on being a pop front card. So how did I make this? I took an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of paper or cardstock, and I scored at 5.25 from each short edge. So 5.25 in this way, excuse me, and 5.25 in this way. And then I scored again at 2 1/8 from each short edge. So that gives me my kind of pop-up front. And this will fold flat to go in a standard envelope. If you want to fold it this way, you can, but it will stand like this. So I have used the Floral Charm Designer Series paper. And what I've got is, I've got one piece at 1 7/8 by 5.25 for this middle piece here. I've got two pieces for the sides of the middle piece, and they are 1 by 5.25. And then I've done 4 pieces at 2 inches by 5.25 for the sides, because I'm going to put paper on this side too, just in case somebody does want to display it as a gull wing card, then you don't have just the plain on it. And then the middle of the back in here, I've cut a piece of basic white at 1 3/4 by 5.25, just so it can sit in the back and you can write your greeting on it. Now, what I've got for the pop front is my very last card front from the kit. But what I did, all week, I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to use this teapot. There is no die for the teapot. So what I did was I took some celebratory sips paper and I stamped in basic gray, and then I used the little set of 3 little eyelet stamps for, I don't know what else to call them. I'm calling them eyelets, and I stamped it on the edge. And then I took the thank you from the main set, and I inked up the thank and stamped it down, and then I inked up the U and stamped it down, and then I fussy cut it out. And to get the handle out, I just used an X-Acto knife. You can use any sharp knife, and now that I'm holding it up, I can see I missed a couple bits, so I'm just gonna smooth them down with my fingernail. So we're going to use that. We're going to use one of the little flowers, but let's go ahead and start building this card. We're gonna need lots of adhesive for this one. So I'm just going to leave that there so that you can see it. And I'm out of my Stampin' Seal adhesive, and it looks like I'm now on my last bit of my other adhesive. So I'm just going to get a new one out. Sorry, just fast forward through this bit if you don't want to watch it. But this is just the old style. And I still get my refills, and I just get them from Michael's. And I use these usually when I'm not on a video because they are noisy. Whereas the Stampin' Seal, the new Stampin' Seal, are not noisy. So I'm just going to pop this right down here in the middle. Now, I am not putting any bling on the front of this card because I want to be able to write on the back. If you know who this card is going to, you can always write this piece first and then stamp it down or stick it down, and then you can put all kinds of bling on the front. So I'm going to take these 2 pieces and put them on the edges. I'm not too worried about putting anything in these pieces here. So anyway, these pieces here, I said to cut at 2 inch. This is 2 1/8, this measurement on this section. So you could make this 1 7/8 if you wanted a wider border. But honestly, I was just trying to make the numbers easy. So if you want that full kind of even border all the way around, you can do it at 1 7/8. But for my purposes today, I did it at 2. So I've just got that little tiny border. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the pieces for the front as well. So one of the really neat things about using a designer series paper, stamping on it and then cutting out, is you get all the little variations in the paper, especially with this celebratory sips paper, that you wouldn't necessarily get if you colored it in. Let's put the paper the right way up. You wouldn't get if you colored it in. I certainly wouldn't anyway. I'm not artistic when it comes to, you know, painting or drawing. That's why I do this with pre-made kind of images. Another way you could do this if you wanted to is to do a baby wipe technique, or the one where you take a wet wipe and you make a pile of them and then you drop your re-inkers on it. And then you can stamp into that to get kind of a variegated effect. Okay, so let's pop that down like that. Okay, let's do our middle piece. So I'll leave that there. Can you still see all the measurements on that? I'm just going to pop that down so you can see all the measurements. And sorry if when I was going through it, I had it out of frame. Okay, and we're going to pop this one right down in the middle here. Most of this, wow, excuse me, most of this one's going to be covered up. And this one, again, could be 1 7/8. The margins or borders on this one are super tight because it is just a little bit bigger than 2 in the middle. But I mean, even like this, that looks so pretty, just like that. And it'll stand up as a pop front card. Let's give it a squash, just like that. So we're going to pop this middle piece down. Get those out of the way. Maybe if I pop this down here like this, it's still in frame. You can take a screenshot so you can see, you can keep the measurements for later if you want. So I'm just going to put some adhesive down the middle of the back of this because it's going to sit just like that. Okay, so that when it stands up, it's like this, and you've got the nice pop up here. So here's what we're going to do with our teapot. This teapot will cover up this little pot that's on here. So I am going to place this right over top of the teapot there. So it covers that one up, adds a little bit of interest to the front. I thought about taking the dies, the add-on dies, and taking some of these little flowers and putting them on, but they still struck me as being just a little bit too big to kind of add on to the front of here. And I didn't feel like fussy cutting out these little tiny flowers. I think that's more than my fingers could probably manage. So I took one of the single large flowers that's left and I put a dimensional on the back. And I'm just going to pop this down here like this, like it's just a lone flower sitting on the shelf. Now, when you're coming to write this, there is a bit of a bump, but it's a smooth bump and you can squish it down if you need to. So although there's a dimensional there, I don't think it should affect your ability to write your card at all. So that is our last card for the alternates in the Paper Pumpkin Kit for August 2025 called Farmhouse Florals. I hope you've really enjoyed the series, and I look forward to hearing your comments. Thank you so much, and let's create together again soon.